Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel for another update on Bitcoin and Solana. It's currently Tuesday the 16th of April. We've got so much to talk about today, from difficulty adjustments from one of my favorite Solana projects, new NFT ecosystems that I've got my eyes on, Honk approving their first Bitcoin and Ether ETFs and how this will affect the price. I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how the Israel-Iran conflict is currently affecting the markets and how it could escalate. And then of course, I'm going to update my price targets for Bitcoin and Solana with our TA segment. So let's dive right into the news and fly through it, starting off with Solana. Now, it's been a while since we've talked about the Solana NFT project known as Drip. Parcel is live doing an airdrop today, and Drip has posted that subscribing to Parcel is going to be a good idea. So I highly recommend you head over to Drip and subscribe to Parcel. According to Parcel Intern, you have until Wednesday to subscribe. I think this is when Parcel's going to do their first drop on Drip. I've got no idea what it is, but that's the alpha. You should probably subscribe to them over on Drip. Now, in other news, Magic Eden now has more daily active users than all other marketplaces combined. Remember, Tensor has just recently done a airdrop on Solana. So myself personally, I'm going to be moving my NFT trading and volume over to Magic Eden, as they have yet to do their Magic Eden Diamond token release. So there's going to be an airdrop for this at some point in the future. If you are still trading NFTs, I recommend you do it on Magic Eden for now. Now, if we're looking at the top 15 blockchains by total transactions in Q1 of 2024, you can see Solana's processed more transactions than all of these chains combined. So Solana's doing very well. Now, there's a new project I've been talking about recently on YouTube and on Twitter and in my Discord called Ore Supply. I believe we talked about this in the previous video and the video before. Basically, this is the first proof of work token contract on Solana. Now, Ore has just paused mining to focus on the development of Ore V2. Now, there's some important things you might want to know about Ore V2. Ore launched just 2 weeks ago as an experimental hackathon project on Solana. Since then, it grew to become the largest and most used program on Solana by transaction count, and it was processing so many transactions that was one of the reasons why the Solana network was congested in the past couple of weeks or so. Now, there's a few things that Ore wants to work on with the development of V2, so for now they're going to pause mining and optimize the system getting ready for V2. If you have any rewards from mining Ore like myself, then there is no deadline to claim the rewards. Once you claim the rewards, the Ore tokens will be upgraded 1-to-1 for their new V2 contract. Here are the 3 main things that the V2 contract aims to address. The main takeaways from this are that they're going to try and make it more fair to mine, and they're going to provide a structural incentive to hold the token. The main thing that I'm interested though is the third primary issue, and that is the difficulty adjustment. As of only a couple of hours ago, they've deployed a new proposition, and that's to increase the difficulty adjustment by 32 times. Which is very good, because my only main concern that I really had with Ore Supply before was the tokenomics, and the fact that there is a steady inflation curve. The fact that it's now 32 times harder to mine is a massive bonus, and you can see since this deployed and came out, we went all the way from $90 up to about $374. I do want to let you know the market cap is literally 4 million. This is the only proof of work token on Solana. It came about very recently from a hackathon, so it's a very new project, and they're already getting ready to deploy V2 with these difficulty adjustments. So I personally just still really like the idea of Ore. One thing I want to quickly point out on this chart is if we come over to the daily time frame, like I said, one of my main concerns was the fact that the difficulty adjustments weren't too crazy back in the day. So when this first started mining, it was just inflation. Now the inflation is cut down massively, and when this originally came out and there wasn't much supply before a lot of it got mined, it quickly moved up to about 40 million market cap, and the price was $4,350. This is because the tokenomics of Ore are somewhat meant to replicate Bitcoin, but on the Solana network, with a few changes to the tokenomics. So the fact that Ore mining is currently paused, and once it resumes, the difficulty will be 32 times harder to mine, I just think this is really good for the tokenomics, and I would not be surprised if one Ore went back to, $4,000, $5,000 very soon. I think this is kind of one of those projects where it either does really well, and because of the tokenomics, this could go to, 10,000, 20,000 in this cycle, or it could go to zero. I don't think there's going to be much in between. I think this is a really cool project. Risk to reward is really good. Also, only proof of work on Solana. I just think this project, once again, is really, really cool. I'm starting to like the bottom formation that we've made in the chart, and I'm starting to like these new difficulty adjustments. So once again, just putting it on your radar, or is going to be something that you're going to hear me talk more and more about on the channel. I'm once again doubling down on the same claim. Or is right now at $202.86 as of the time of recording this. I think this can easily do a 10x. Not financial advice, but I do own quite a lot of this. Now, the total trading volume for Get Grass points surpasses $2 million on OTC, with the price of grass skyrocketing up to 0.0023 cents. Once again, I think it's a really good idea to start mining grass in the background. I will leave my referral link down below if you do want to start mining grass. So far, in the past, only 1 month that I've been using this, I've earned about 100,000 points, which at today's prices are 2 Solana, just from using my spare broadband whenever I'm on my PC, which isn't too often. Now, bear in mind, a lot of this is from referrals, so if you're popular, you can refer people. If you're an influencer, you can refer people and you can gain extra points. So to be fully transparent, about 1.5 of the Solana that I've earned from grass has been from referrals. However, if I had never referred anyone, I would have earned about $130 or 1 Solana in the past month that I've been using it. So still very, very nice to use. Once again, I'll leave my referral link for grass down below. Make sure you are using getgrass.io, and if you've got the money as well, another good referral is to get the Solana Chapter 2 before they increase the price. I'll leave my referral link for the Solana Chapter 2 down below. Now, I saw this video on Twitter, which I thought was super, super funny, so I'm just going to roll it for the next minute. Basically, I think this highlights why meme coins are probably going to be big in this cycle.
I got 2 shit coins here for you right here. Here we have Arbitrum on the left. It's a decentralized blockchain, layer 2 on the Ethereum network. There's decentralized rollups, applications, DeFi, crypto gaming, etc. gets built using a decentralized consensus mechanism. A bunch of crazy technology being built on it. And on the right, we have dog with hat. As you can see, the dog has a hat. So which one of these coins would you actually buy?
I'm gonna go with the dog.
Dog with hat wins. Let's fucking get it.
I'm picking the dog.
The dog. Can you give a reason why you like the dog?
He's cute and he's wearing a hat.
She wants to wear the glasses.
You heard it. The normies like the dogs because he got a hat on. Yeah. Let's go.
I buy the dog. I understand it more than this.
You heard it here first, guys. Meme coins are the fucking future. These normies don't know shit about blockchains. They just know about pictures. Let's keep aping these soul meme coins. Dog with hat to a billion, trillion, quadrillion MC, baby. Let's fucking go.
Anyway, moving on to a quick NFT segment. In the previous couple of videos, I've been talking about how I believe these NFTs Retardio cousins are going to do very, very well. It went up to about a 17 Solana floor since when I called them at 8 Solana. They're currently having a little bit of a correction, sitting at 12 Solana at this moment in time. I still think these are going to do extremely well. So just doubling down on that claim, keep your eyes on this project. I think it's going to do really well. Another project which just minted out on Ethereum, I believe a couple of days ago, is Remilly Angel. Now, I really, really like the artwork on this. Bear in mind, I have not used Ethereum in the past 2.5 years or so. And I decided to use Ethereum for the first time the other day, just so I can buy a few of these NFTs, because I think the art is just so trippy, kind of gives like weird schizophrenic type vibes. Anyway, I think this is very subjective. I think you'll either love this one or hate this one, but I really like the artwork on this one. Anyway, the community for Remilly and Miladies and Retardios, they're all kind of intertwined and it's quite a big community, so I do think this one will do well. Anyway, just putting it on your radar. One of the reasons why I'm mentioning this is because, like I said, this is the first time in 2 years that I used Ethereum, and Ethereum has definitely got better to use. It's become quicker with less fees, but oh my gosh, I just wanted to shoot myself the whole time I was using it. Coming from Solana and going onto Ethereum, you can just really, really feel the difference. I just feel like Solana is leaps and bounds ahead of other blockchains. It's got the adoption of ETH and it's got the speed of all of the other smaller blockchains, which other normies talk about and say, oh, what about KDA? KDA is like also super fast, but no one uses it. So I feel like Solana is the best of the both because it's got massive adoption, it's got massive devs building on it, it's got massive communities, people actually want to use it, people want to build on it, but it's also super fast. Anyway, just wanted to share my experience. Now let's move on to the Bitcoin news. Let's start off with the Bitcoin ETF flows. Starting off with yesterday, the Bitcoin flows were mainly negative. We had GBTC dumping $110 million worth of Bitcoin. IBIT purchased about 73.4 million, which held it up a bit, but cumulative flows ended up on Monday being negative 36.7 million, so still lots of room for improvement. As always, I will post the updates for the cumulative flows over on my Twitter at 618_cowboy, so make sure you come and follow me. Also, a quick note, my channel's been growing recently, my Twitter and my Discord have been growing recently, and with that, scammers are starting to come back. So just a heads up, if you leave a comment on YouTube and you get a response from me saying text this number, message me, or if you follow me on Twitter and then all of a sudden another Cowboy Trades Twitter follows you and sends you a message, it's not me, I'm not going to follow you back. Chances are, unless you're someone who's really, really big on Twitter and you're posting content which is useful to me, I'm not going to follow you back, and I'm definitely not going to message you. So don't think that I've just created an alt account, or don't think that you followed me and I followed you back and sent you a message, because it's not going to happen. Be careful of scammers, lots of them around. My official Twitter will have a blue tick, so keep an eye out for that. Now, in other Bitcoin news, Hong Kong has approved their first Bitcoin and Ether ETFs. So, is this going to be extremely bullish? Is all of China just going to start buying these spot ETFs? And is this going to send the price even further to the upside? Well, I wish I could say it was, guys, but unfortunately it really doesn't seem to be the case with these ones. Something that was pointed out by economist Eric Balchunas, can't pronounce that guy's name. Basically, he's a senior ETF analyst at Bloomberg. He basically pointed out a lot of people are banking on wealthy Chinese locals, but officially you cannot buy these ETFs if you're in mainland China. That's because, if you didn't know, mainland China and Hong Kong, two very different separate entities with different laws on crypto, etc. So this is not a Chinese Bitcoin ETF, this is a Hong Kong Bitcoin ETF, and the exposure will likely be much, much shorter. Hate to burst the bubble, hate to kind of stamp on your balls with this news, but that is the reality. Now let's quickly talk about some macro and talk about what's happening in the world right now. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this already, but Iran has recently performed an attack on Israel. Now, Israeli military says the Iran attack will be met with a response. The US is now stepping in. US legislators renew push for additional aid to Israel after the Iran attack. US lawmakers are calling for approval of a $14 billion assistance package to Israel. And the US is expecting to impose further sanctions on Iran in the coming days. So it looks like this situation is being somewhat escalated, and if you didn't know, what is war good for? Nothing apart from the US dollar. War times are very, very positive for the DXY. We've talked about this before on the channel. If you don't believe me, go do some research. But in times of previous warfare, the US dollar often outperforms a lot of its other fiat currency counterparts. And right now, the US dollar has been going up very sharply since this news. On the weekly time frame, looking at the Fibonacci from the swing low in 2021 up to the swing high in 2022, the DXY recently came down and found support at the 618 fib, and it is looking like it's pushing up bullish, at least in the immediate short term. The VIX has taken a sharp rally up to the upside in the past week or so. However, I would like to highlight that this is still a major downtrend. So in my opinion, I don't think that this warfare is going to escalate too badly, and I think this will just be a blip up in the VIX, and this will be a blip up in the DXY, and potentially we could be looking at making a lower high or maybe a double top, something like this, in the coming weeks or so, as long as there is no sharp escalation of warfare. If we're coming over to the S&P 500 as well, we have in the past 24 hours confirmed a short signal underneath the 50 TMA strategy. We are falling beneath the Bollinger Bands, and as you can see, this uptrending line of support, which has been in place throughout all of 2024, has been broken in the past couple of days or so. So at least in the immediate short term, things are looking negative. Once again, I will reiterate, I really think you should keep your eyes on the news, because this is something that charts can't necessarily predict. You would be hoping for de-escalation very, very soon. If there's an escalation of warfare, then the markets may take a steeper decline for the next month or so. And this, of course, leads us into our TA segment for Bitcoin and Solana. Let's start off with Bitcoin. The Bitcoin halving is only about 3 days away, and obviously we're having this steep correction to the downside in the past week or so. We're still confirming short underneath the 50 TMA strategy like we told you at 67,000. And once again, you know, while the news is not predicted, charts have a funny way of predicting what could come in the news, because it's always something like this. This is what we talked about 2 weeks ago on the channel, and as you can see, we were predicting a move to the downside pre-halving to $60,000 before grinding out, finding a bottom around about 60k and moving to the upside. So it seems like this kind of general trajectory that we've drawn out previously on the channel is beautifully playing out. I'm still predicting around about 60k, but we are steadily approaching the first level of support at 62,100. So I am expecting, as long as there is no escalation of warfare, that this could potentially be coming very close to the bottom for Bitcoin at 60,000. If we do come over to a couple of price targets that I do want to talk about, there's two different scenarios which could play out. Number one, the Bitcoin halving's 3 days away. Bitcoin comes down to around about 60,000. There's no escalation of warfare. The DXY starts to top out because there's no escalation of war. The VIX starts to come back to the downside. There's a healthy reset. S&P 500 starts to go back up. Cumulative flows start to step back in, and because there's no escalation of anything negative, Bitcoin finds a bottom around about 60k and starts to ride up to the upside. The other scenario could be that there is escalation of warfare, and that's something that's hard to predict. If that does come to fruition, we do have price targets on the diamond top formation at 53,800. That is only if there is warfare escalation, which is something that a chart can't necessarily predict. There's also an asymmetrical triangle price target down here at 53,800. So a lot of backing round about this 54k-ish level. And then also that would put us just above the top of this previous range over here. Anyway, as long as there's no escalation of warfare, then this prediction that we drew out a couple of weeks ago is still my base case prediction. I find it very funny that a couple of weeks ago when I was saying, hey, it's probably likely that we come down to 60k, and everyone was kind of extremely bullish, perma-bullish at that moment in time. Everyone was saying, you know, Bitcoin to 100k next week, the halving is going to send us to the moon. Bitcoin's never hit an all-time high before the halving. We're just going to keep on going up in a straight line. I said, for this channel, in my opinion and our opinion, we think we're going to go sideways / down to about 60,000 pre-halving and then come back up to the upside. A lot of people maybe faded this a little bit, and now as we're actually coming down to 60,000, I'm seeing mass fear start to step back in. No one was expecting 60k. Now 60k is coming like a rock. Everyone's terrified and they think we should go lower. That is probably a signal that the bottom is very close. I hate to also out whoever commented this on my Discord, but I got a message today on Discord from someone asking me, is the bull run over? Sorry if that's you watching this, but that is typically a sign that the bull run is probably just about to resume. So anyway, let's move on from the analysis. As long as there's no escalation of war, this 60k level is where I think we're going to find a bottom. If there is, then keep your eyes on around about 54k, maybe worst case scenario. Another level in between those, just to kind of let you know, if we do draw our Fibonacci from swing high down to the swing low of the previous cycle, you could see we have just hit right above this one extension. We might be coming back down for a retest of the 786. That would be interesting if we have a slight SFP swing failure pattern beneath 60k. A lot of people would panic as we lose that level of support. Then we hit 57.8. You know, that at that point the ETFs might be like, hey, good discount, I'll buy, and then boom, that's the bottom. So just a couple of scenarios there to keep your eyes on. All in all, in general, between 60k and 57.6k, that's where I think we're going to bottom. And I think we're going to come and bottom very, very soon. Now, let's talk about Solana. I want to start off on the higher time frames, and I want to say, if in doubt, zoom out. We are on the weekly time frame right now for Solana on a logarithmic time frame, and I just want to show you, since the bottom was found around about $8, we've had tons of corrections like this. As you can see, once we came up to $27, we had a 52.5% correction. Then we pushed up to $32, and we had a 46% correction. Then we pushed up to $127, and we had a 38% correction. And then recently we've pushed up to $210, almost a whole $100 above our previous top. And now we're having a correction of, what do you know, 39%. This is right on par with the previous correction. And if we dip a tiny bit lower, let's say around about 45% down to about $115, that would be summating around about the average of all of our previous dips. So when in doubt, zoom out. As you can see, higher highs across the board. And every time after we've had these sharp corrections back down to the downside, these have always been the best times to buy. Look at this. If this is the sharp correction, and this is the next, like, you know, higher low, look at that higher low. The trend is your friend until the end, and the trend is still looking very, very nice in the macro for Solana. However, in the micro, weekly time frame, let's just talk about this price target. As you can see, this was actually our worst case scenario about a week ago, 3-4 weeks ago that we talked about this. I said the worst price target that I can think of in Solana for the next couple of weeks or so is going to be this touch point down here at $126. Now, granted, we talked about this one first, $143. We said if this doesn't hold, keep your eyes on $127. And if we come over to the daily time frame, what do you know? Boom. We literally touched it. We were maybe like 2-3 cents off our price target, but we have bounced back about $10 since that price target is hit. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean just because we've bounced from this level of support that the bottom is in. I do want to keep open-minded, especially considering how I am still calling for around about 60k Bitcoin before we get the halving out of the way and start moving back up to the upside, and that would be about another 5% drop for Bitcoin, which means Solana could come down to one further price target to the downside. So in all interest, like I said, $126 was my worst case scenario. I have started to DCA my favorite meme coins, my favorite bags. I've started to DCA Solana. In fact, when I say I start to DCA, I've pretty much finished DCAing. Pretty much all of my capital has been DCA'd at this level, 126, which we talked about before. However, just in case we dip beneath 126 one more time and go for one final lower low, I want to let you know where I think that level could bottom out at, and that is going to be right here at the 0.5 Fibonacci from the swing low to the swing high of the bull market so far. This would be at approximately $110 for Solana. A lot of people have their eyes on the psychological level of 100. A lot of people are going to say, hey, I'm going to set my buy orders for 100 because that's a nice round level. But what will probably end up happening is people will be like, hey, I want a front run. I'm going to set buy orders at 105, 110, 115, and we'll end up bottoming before 100. So my now worst case scenario, worst case price prediction, if 126 doesn't hold, $110 before that next massive leg to the upside for Solana, which will likely take us to the 1.236 extension at $322 for the next leg up. A very, very nice entry round about that 110 mark. Worst case scenario, if we hit that, you've got about a 3x to come up to this higher high. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for Bitcoin and Solana today. Hope you found some value in today's content. If you did, I'll see you in the next one. Smash like on the way out. Peace.